Welcome to Mission to Inspire, where we share life experiences in our careers, personal lives, society, culture, religion, finance, family, and much more. Meet your host, Shola Ajabadi, as she takes you on a ride to fuel your inspiration.
Hi everyone, my name is Shola and I'm your host of Mission to Inspire. Our guest today is Corina Goetz. Hi Corina, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Nice to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you on our show. Thank you so much for accepting to come on our show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, Corina is a Middle Eastern expat. She runs StarCat, a training and representation company that helps businesses to become successful in the Middle East. She has represented hotels and luxury brands and now also trains companies and individuals on how to become successful in the GCC region. So for those of you that don't know the GCC region, it actually is the Gulf Cooperation Council, the political and economic alliance of 6 Middle Eastern countries. And they are the Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman.
Correct.
I now said a little bit about you and what you do, but can you tell us a bit more?
Sure. So I've always worked with people from the Middle East for like a quite a long period, probably about 15 years. So I learned a lot of things, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, not knowing who was who, and trying to find out how it's all connected and what to talk with people about, but also to leave a lot of your stereotypes at the door, because nowadays I think when a lot of people hear Saudi, they think, oh my God, I could never go there. And that's where I come in, and I can help people to understand what is the culture, not to worry about those things, and not to believe what they all read in the media, because things are actually quite different once you get there. And it's quite a beautiful country, and there's really a lot to offer. So that's what I do.
Wow, that's great. So what are your line of businesses? Is it just the luxury hotel and training? Is there anything else?
Yeah, so I think my main sort of business is like hospitality and
Right.
and training. So I have sort of like 2 hats, if you will. I have one where I deal with some very high-end people from the Middle East, some princes or ministers or people that come from there, that I help and look after and book them into hotels that I represent. So in London, I have 2 hotels that I work with. And then I make sure, they have the right accommodation and they have everything they need. And the hotel also knows what they want. And so it's basically setting the hotels up for success and getting them repeat clients. But with that, I also have to stay very close to the clients from Saudi or Qatar, or from the GCC region to make sure I know what they like, what they don't like, to sort of bring it all together, if you will. And then, of course, my other hat is the training for people or companies that go out to the Middle East, right, to help them understand, how to form relationships, how they can make their business deals work, what could happen in a meeting, how is the culture very different from what is happening in Europe. And, believe me, I've been there. I am German, and I'm normally always on time and things. And so it's a little bit of an adjustment when you deal with a different culture, but I think the power is in knowing what to do.
Right. That is amazing. So you live in another part of the world and you operate your business in another part of the world.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But I travel to the Middle East quite a lot. So I've just come back from Qatar and Dubai, and it was just it was really lovely, because this was the one of the first times that I've gone back after COVID. So so it was really nice to see everybody and see what had changed with all the countries and everything. So it was really good. I think a lot of people miss travel a lot.
Yeah, because of the COVID. So for 2 years or 2.5 years, you haven't been?
No, for like exactly since probably like the end of like 2019, you know, like we couldn't, because and some of the countries were closed as well. So for example, Saudi was closed for about a year. You couldn't even go there. Nobody could leave. They could travel within the country, but not outside because of the whole COVID situation. So you can imagine what that did to my business in the 2 years during COVID. It went from being, you know, super busy, always having calls, WhatsApp messages, to literally zero overnight because nobody could travel. And not just nobody could travel, but people were also afraid because they didn't really know, you know, what was going to happen. And then we were all waiting. Then what did you have to do? You had to take all these tests and do all these crazy things and fill in all these forms. And it became really complicated. And I think, you know, that's when I sort of started to sort of try and reassess what I was doing and thinking, you know, what else could I do? And that was also the period during COVID, once I started working on my mindset, because I know your podcast is all about mindset, and we wanted to talk about this a little bit. So it's been a really, really massive curve of education for me. Like I think it has been for so many people. Right.
Actually, I know that during during the pandemic, you started cold water swimming.
Correct. Correct. And this, it's actually an interesting thing how this came about, because I started doing a lot of work like on myself. Like I started listening to Tony Robbins and I did, he also had to rethink all his business model because he used to travel all over the world and had all these seminars everywhere. And then he actually took them all virtual, which he never wanted to do, which was so interesting. And I attended a couple of those. And one of the things he always says is, you know, you need to challenge, in order to overcome what you're going through, you need to challenge yourself and you need to do something that scares you. And once you come through this, then you make progress. And so that was one of the things I then heard about, you know, I'd heard about a lot of the health benefits of cold water swimming. And I thought, you know, I wonder if I could actually do that. And I wonder like how far down I could go with the temperature. So this was in like sort of like late summer, when I think the temperature was about maybe, I don't know, 19, 20 degrees of the water. So I live in London, and there's like there's a pond there where you can go, which is literally just for ladies. There's also a pond for men, and there's a mixed pond, but I went to the ladies' pond. And so I swam in the summer. It was quite busy and everything. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I could just keep going with this. And everybody thought I was crazy. Like my family thought, they were like, you lost your mind. I'm like, no, I think I really need to try this, you know? So I kind of just kept going. And then we got, I think, to about October. And then I think at that point it was probably, maybe it had gone down to maybe 14, 15, and it still felt fine. I felt like I could manage, but then we had another lockdown.
Okay.
And the lockdown, I think, was a couple of weeks. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks or something. And by that time, the temperature had gone down a lot. I think it had gone down to like 9 or something.
Okay.
And I felt really nervous. And I thought, oh God, I really don't know if I can do this. But I thought, no, I need to push myself. I need to try and see if I can.
Yeah.
And I did. And I should also say, at the pond, you know, it's very, for anyone who hasn't done this, they have lifeguards and they're really amazing and like coaching people, saying what you can do and just go in and take it slow and whatever. And and it worked. And then, and then I swam a bit more, and we had another lockdown, and I kind of just kept going with it. And I think the lowest temperature it went to was probably 3.5 degrees, I would say.
Wow.
And it's, I mean, like, don't think I'm in there for like half an hour or something. I literally go in, swim around and come out. And here's the interesting bit. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Wim Hof. he says, if there's something on your mind or you feel really rattled or you feel sad or something, if you go into cold water, that all goes away. Because all you can think about when you go into this cold water is that, my God, this water is so cold. How am I going to get through this? And you forget about everything else that you do. And that really is what sort of kept me going. I mean, these swims in the winter were like, I think, the most incredible things. Like, it literally felt after the swim that, you know, somebody gave you some kind of happy hormones. That's how you felt. Wow. It's really incredible. And it does a lot of stuff for your mind.
Wow. So cold water swimming basically is swimming in cold water.
Yes. It's not
at zero temperature.
I don't think it goes below 0 because then it sort of would freeze over. So I think the lowest it kind of goes is about 2 or 3 degrees, but it's freezing. I mean, at one point, because they had outdoor showers at the pond. At one point, the showers were frozen because it was so cold. You couldn't even take a shower. So, but yeah, no, it's in nature. You could do it. Of course, you could do it like in a normal pool because there's a pool close by the ponds called the Parliament Hill Lido, and people go there as well in the winter, and it's not heated. And it, you know, it's so amazing because the community is also incredible. And you see women that are in their 80s, you see really young women in their 20s, you see a lot of people in midlife, you see people, you know, who come in groups, and it's really incredible. Like, it really does something for your mind, and it really takes you to another space. And it really helps. And for me, now, when I go to the pond, I usually always go by myself. I always drive because it's about 15 minutes from my house. So I drive, I listen to a podcast on the way there. I listen to a podcast on the way back. And then when I get into the water, I think about like my business, and I think about manifestation. I think about what I want to achieve, and you know, and how I can move this forward. And this is sort of like my time for myself to think and breathe and reevaluate. But it also helps me when I have a difficult conversation. Like, I had a very difficult meeting a few weeks ago, and the day before it was literally pouring down with rain. And I said to my husband, I need to go for a swim. I just need to clear my mind. I just need to get a different take on this meeting. So I did. And the meeting went a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And it really made it also helped me to really change my way of approaching it. So I think to me, I think to some people it's jogging or whichever, but for me, this cold water swimming has really been a revelation. And now I even look forward to my cold showers in the morning.
Wow. It's so interesting, honestly. So what advantages have you experienced since you started cold water swimming? I think one of the biggest things was that, you know, initially I felt, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And then I managed to do it. And that, I think, sort of like turned a switch. It was almost like whenever then I had something else where I thought, oh, I couldn't do this, I think I was like, no, I can, because I've done something else and I can get through this somehow. So I think that really helped with my outlook. And also when things were really difficult during COVID, to try and sort of find new avenues. And I think it also helped me become a lot more brave. So it did a lot for my mind. But on the plus side, I think it did a lot for my health as well, because it's very good, like for your immune system. You know, it's very good against inflammation, and so it helps with like a lot of different things. That's interesting. You know, when you go swimming in the heated pool,
yes,
it's cold when you get in anyway. It's not really that warm, that very warm when you get in first time. And then your body kind of adapts to that temperature. Is it the same with cold water swimming?
I think it's like you go in and you feel a bit like it sort of, it takes your breath away for a minute, especially in the winter. I mean, like now it's not so bad. Like this morning I went and it was like 19 degrees. I mean, it's quite warm. Yeah. but when it is really cold, you go in there and it literally almost like takes your breath away, and you feel, and then there's another really interesting sensation. Then your body almost feels, especially if you're not used to it, like as if your body is on fire. I think that's probably the only way I could explain it. And that's sort of, I think, your reaction of trying to protect yourself. But you can definitely overcome this with breathing and with doing this regularly. And I think for anyone who hasn't done this and would want to start, I would suggest like you start with sort of like cold showers in the morning, like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And then you build up your resistance like that.
Right. My son actually, he takes cold shower in the morning, and I think it's crazy. I tell him, I said, why on earth would you bathe with a cold shower? Why would you take cold shower in the morning when it's cold? But now I see what it could do to, to your mind, to you as a person, clearing your mind, your head and everything. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
Honestly, I think it's hard at first, but you get used to it, and then you kind of almost crave this, and you almost crave this sensation and what it does to your body and how good it makes you feel. And at the end of the day, it's all like natural. So, and it's really interesting because a lot more people have taken up like cold showers or cold plunges or things like that, because it really is something that, I would never say you get used to it fully, because, for me, like I go to the pond in the winter and I look at the sign and it says, let's say 5 degrees. And then like another day it says 8 degrees. Yeah. And I think, oh, wow, it's 8 degrees. It's really warm. And I get into the water and I think, no, it's not. This is just like your perception of it, So yes, it never gets easier, but if you can overcome that, I almost see it as like you overcome that hurdle, you challenge yourself to something, then you can do anything.
Then, wow, that's great. So any disadvantage to this technique?
Any disadvantage? I think you just have to take the first step. I think that's what scares people the most. Or maybe this is something I need to look in, because, when I go to the pond and there's some ladies, there's a ladder where you climb in, and then there's also some people that jump in. And I always think, oh my God, I could never jump in. It's just crazy. Like, I think, no. So I always climb in, but maybe I need to challenge myself to jump in next time.
That'll be interesting.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. Right. Can you inspire our viewers with a word of advice, please?
I think what we've all learned with COVID is, I think that we, one of the things we have to do is in order to be successful is sort of master our mind and master, how we react to situations. And I think one of the things that I always remember is like Tony Robbins, for example, also always says, out of your success, 80% is mindset and only 20% is talent. So it's all about, what you feed your mind, who you surround yourself with. And it's funny because once you change your outlook, you also start attracting different people in your life. And you start attracting people, that think more like you, that maybe you can learn from, that maybe are a bit more entrepreneurial, and you block out all the rest of the noise, and you block out all the people that say, oh, this is never going to work. And, you're never going to make this a success. But how would they know? I think if you have the determination, you can do it. And that would be my word of advice. So challenge yourself to something, whether it be a cold shower or whatever it may be, a day, and then you can kind of overcome anything.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on our show, and thank you for that word of advice. So here you can hear what she said. Let's challenge ourselves to something that we think is very challenging, I would say. Something that is really challenging, like the cold water swimming. Oh my God, I don't think I can do that cold water swimming. I don't know. It's threatening me thinking about it already.
Maybe start with cold showers then.
Maybe start with cold shower. Yes, I will start with cold shower, and then I'll try swimming in cold water. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today on our show. For those of you who have subscribed, we thank you. And for those of you who haven't, we'll say, please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share our video. We are grateful that you're joining us today. Thank you. For those of you who would like to contact Corina about our business or line of businesses, you can actually visit our website at www.star-card.co.uk, www.star-card.co.uk. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola and I'm your host today on Mission to Inspire. Our guest is Corina Goetz. Hi, Corina. How are you? Oh my goodness.
Hi. How are you? Do you want to do this again?
I will have to do it again. Somebody just called me.
Thank you for joining us today on Mission to Inspire. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Like, comment, leave a message. Let's stay connected. Let's jointly inspire the world.